The Battle of Actium, 31 BCE. The Battle of Actium, fought on September 2nd, 31st BCE, was one of the most decisive naval confrontations in history. This battle marked the end of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire under Augustus, previously known as Octavian. The clash between Octavian and the combined forces of Mark Antony and Cleopatra was not only a military engagement, but also a dramatic culmination of political intrigue, personal ambition, and shifting alliances. After the assassination of Julius Caesar in 44 BCE, the power struggle for control of Rome intensified. The Second Triumvirate, composed of Octavian, Mark Antony, and Lepidus, was formed to defeat Caesar's assassins and stabilize the Republic. However, as their common enemies were vanquished, the alliance between Octavian and Mark Antony began to deteriorate. Mark Antony, a seasoned general and close ally of Caesar, aligned himself with Cleopatra, the Queen of Egypt. Their romantic and political alliance posed a significant threat to Octavian. Antony's base of power shifted to the east, where he commanded a large military force and substantial resources from Egypt. Cleopatra, a shrewd and ambitious ruler, sought to preserve her kingdom's independence and expand her influence. Her relationship with Antony solidified their combined military strength, but it also provided Octavian with propaganda material. He painted Antony as a traitor to Rome, bewitched by a foreign queen, and seeking to establish a monarchy in the East. The prelude to battle. The strategic movements. In 32 BCE, Octavian declared war on Cleopatra, effectively positioning himself as Rome's defender against Eastern despotism. Antony and Cleopatra amassed their forces at Actium, a promontory on the western coast of Greece. They established a strong defensive position with a formidable fleet of warships and a well-fortified camp on shore. Octavian, determined to confront his rivals, moved his fleet and army to the vicinity of Actium. His naval commander, Agrippa, played a crucial role in the campaign. Agrippa's superior naval tactics and his ability to disrupt Antony's supply lines put Antony and Cleopatra at a strategic disadvantage. The fleet's Antony and Cleopatra's fleet comprised of about 500 ships, many of which were large, heavily armed quinqueremes. These ships were powerful, but less maneuverable. Octavian's fleet had approximately 400 ships, primarily lighter and more agile Liburnians. These vessels were designed for speed and maneuverability, giving Octavian an edge in naval tactics. The Battle of Actium, the initial engagement. On the morning of September 2nd, 31st BCE, the fleets positioned themselves for battle. Antony's forces, confident in their larger ships and superior firepower, prepared to break through Octavian's lines. Octavian, aware of his fleet's agility, planned to outmaneuver and encircle Antony's ships. As the battle commenced, Agrippa's tactics quickly proved effective. The lighter and faster Liburnians harassed the larger quinqueremes, using their superior maneuverability to avoid direct confrontation while inflicting damage. The turning point of the battle came when Cleopatra, aboard her flagship, suddenly fled the scene with her squadron of ships. Historians debate her reasons, whether it was prearranged with Antony or a decision driven by fear. Regardless, her departure demoralized Antony's forces and caused chaos within his ranks. Seeing Cleopatra flee, Antony made a fateful decision to follow her. abandoning his fleet and leaving his forces leaderless. The remaining ships, now without direction, fell into disarray. Octavian's fleet seized the opportunity to encircle and decimate the disorganized enemy. By the end of the day, most of Antony's fleet was destroyed or captured. The battle was a decisive victory for Octavian, solidifying his control over Rome and its territories. Following their defeat at Actium, Antony and Cleopatra fled to Egypt. Octavian pursued them relentlessly, determined to eliminate any remaining threat. In Alexandria, as Octavian's forces closed in, both Antony and Cleopatra took their own lives, Antony falling on his sword and Cleopatra allegedly succumbing to a venomous asp. With the deaths of Antony and Cleopatra, Octavian emerged as the unchallenged ruler of Rome. In 27 BCE, he was bestowed the title of Augustus, marking the end of the Roman Republic and the beginning of the Roman Empire. His reign ushered in a period of relative peace and stability, known as the Pax Romana. Octavian masterfully used propaganda to undermine Antony and Cleopatra. He portrayed Antony as a Roman general who had been seduced and corrupted by an Eastern queen. Octavian's campaign emphasized the moral and cultural superiority of Rome over the decadence of the East, rallying support among the Roman populace and Senate. Coins and inscriptions. Octavian issued coins and inscriptions that depicted Antony and Cleopatra in a negative light, emphasizing their foreignness and supposed betrayal of Roman values. Literary works. Poets and writers, often encouraged by Octavian, depicted Antony as a tragic figure undone by his infatuation with Cleopatra, while Octavian was portrayed as the savior of Rome. Cleopatra, one of the most fascinating figures of antiquity, left a complex legacy. Her intelligence, political acumen, and romantic liaisons with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony made her a figure of intrigue and controversy. Despite Octavian's efforts to vilify her, Cleopatra's legend endured, immortalized in works of art, literature, and drama. Analysis of the battle. Strategic missteps. Supply lines. Antony's strategic failure to secure his supply lines was a critical mistake. Agrippa's harassment of Antony's logistics starved his forces of essential supplies, weakening their resolve and combat skills. Naval disadvantages. The decision to rely heavily on large, cumbersome quinqueremes put Antony at a disadvantage. These ships, while powerful, lacked the maneuverability needed to effectively counter Agrippa's agile vessels. Leadership and morale. Antony's decision to follow Cleopatra during the battle caused a collapse in morale and leadership among his forces. The lack of cohesive command structure after his departure led to disorganization and defeat. Effective tactics. Agrippa's use of lighter, more maneuverable ships allowed Octavian's fleet to outflank and harass Antony's larger vessels. This tactic minimized direct confrontation and maximized damage to the enemy fleet. Psychological warfare. Octavian's effective use of propaganda weakened Antony's support base and demoralized his troops. The portrayal of Antony as a traitor and Cleopatra as a manipulative foreign queen resonated with Roman citizens and soldiers alike. Cleopatra's alliance with Antony was both a political and romantic relationship. Her goal was to secure her throne and expand her influence, while Antony sought to consolidate his power base in the east. Their union was a formidable force, but also became their undoing. Cleopatra's strategic acumen was evident in her efforts to support Antony with resources and naval power. However, her decision to flee the battle remains a point of contention among historians. Whether driven by self-preservation or a prearranged plan with Antony, her departure played a crucial role in the outcome of the battle. Cleopatra's influence extended beyond the battlefield. Her cultural and intellectual contributions to the Hellenistic world, as well as her role in the political machinations of the time, have left an enduring legacy. Her life and reign continue to fascinate and inspire, symbolizing the complex interplay of power, politics, and romance. The Battle of Actium was a turning point in ancient history, marking the end of the Roman Republic and the rise of the Roman Empire. It was a battle not only of ships and soldiers, but also of strategy, propaganda, and personal ambition. The clash between Octavian and Mark Antony, with Cleopatra's pivotal role, remains one of the most dramatic and consequential events of the ancient world. Through strategic brilliance and effective propaganda, Octavian emerged victorious, paving the way for a new era in Roman history. The legacies of Antony and Cleopatra, meanwhile, continue to captivate and inspire, serving as enduring reminders of the complex interplay between power, love, and destiny.
Thank you for watching.
If you enjoyed this video, please like it, subscribe and comment below what topic or historical battle we should do next.